A recent court ruling in Singapore has lessons for all property owners. Let's look at what happened. The case involved an HDB flat that was in the joint names of a man and his daughter. When the man died, the daughter automatically became the sole owner. But the man's other children launched a challenge because his will stated that his only son would inherit the flat. The daughter won her case in the High Court, but the Court of Appeal then overturned this decision, citing evidence that the man had no intention to give her the flat. Let's untangle this case with Invest editor Tan Wee Boon. So Wee Boon, what is the first lesson here, especially when putting someone's name as a joint owner for property inheritance planning?
You know something, Ollie? Properties are probably the most expensive assets for most families. So it pays to understand the legal positions on home ownership. When you put someone's name as a joint owner, it means that he or she will own the property jointly with you. And if something happens to you, the joint owner will take over the whole property. This rule of survivorship will apply even if you may have a will and that you want the property to go to someone else. Of course, as pointed out by you earlier, the Court of Appeal has ruled in a case that the joint owner will not get the property after her father passed away, because the rest of the family can prove that the father, who paid for everything, clearly wanted the property to go to another person. But they succeeded in doing so only after 2 rounds of court battles and spending about 40,000 in legal fees. So the lesson here is, if you don't want to pass the whole property to a particular person, then don't make the person the joint owner.
I see. Well, Wee Boon, what else should families do to avoid, legal nightmares that involve property ownership?
Again, one of the ironies of life is that many people work hard to build their wealth, but when it comes to managing the wealth, they don't spend enough effort on it. When that happens, your relatives can end up in court fighting over your assets. So here are some tips to remember. For couples, joint ownership is actually a good arrangement. One spouse takes over when the other party is no longer around. The same goes for families with only one kid. Your only child inherits all your properties if he or she is a joint owner. But if you want to give the properties to more than one person, it's better to create something that's known as tenancy in common. In this case, you state clearly how much share a person owns in that property. But do note that before you go and list everyone's name in the next property purchase, so that everyone gets a share, you have to consider Singapore's property regime as well. If you put your son's name in a property, he will not be able to apply for a HDB flat. He will also have to pay additional stamp duties when he buys his own home. So if you have multiple beneficiaries to consider, it is best to consult a lawyer. And in drawing up your will, don't forget to tell your lawyer about your properties and whose names are on them.
Always useful, helpful advice from Invest editor Tan Wee Boon. Wee Boon has written about legacy planning and pitfalls of joint property ownership, including the story of another family feud that ended up in court. You'll find his articles online at str.sg/invest.